done honest research. I've documented cases, and I have case upon case that shows this, but yet I'm not accepted in here. It's like I'm the most unwanted piece of the puzzle. You know what I mean? It's like they're all trying to put a piece of the puzzle together. But when I come with my piece, they don't want my piece, because my piece is going to change what they think the puzzle is supposed to look like.
Hey yo, there's something in the air, can't you feel it? It's like everything has started to be clear and you can see it. It's so intriguing to observe reality. What do you believe? Would we ever agree? I see a planet that's a question, see reflections of the past, repeated patterns, repetitions. A vision cloudy with deception, but we can press into the future, expressing our intentions. We want the truth, not inventions, not demonics or robotics, sent to imitate perceptions. Are aliens holographic or organic? Examine facts, there's no need for a panic. And people say that they'll believe it when they see it. Take me to your leader who controls the spaceship. Tell me what's your origin, I'll know your intentions. What's behind the mask may not be what you're expecting. Bring us your clues, there's no need to be troubled. Everybody's got a different piece of the puzzle. Let's examine every part of the mixture.
We're happy to have you back. This is going to be another exciting show. I'm looking forward to it. We have Ark from Destiny Lab, and I'm just so thankful that he's put some time aside for us today to tell us a little bit about his musical journey, but more importantly, the journey that led him to Christ, and maybe some of the particulars that came along with that. I'm Jason December out of Huntington Beach, California. We've got Joseph Jordan, author of Piercing the Cosmic Veil book. If you haven't got it, get it. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on, just type it in, whatever, you can find it. Obviously, Ark from Destiny's Lab. We've got Lee and Mick Arn from Australia.
Oh, talking about songs, I tell you, I do a lot of mischief on the social media sites. It's just the way I am. But one of your songs that I post that gives people shock and awe, the one that hits them the most, I guess, is Order Out of Chaos.
Yeah.
With the video that goes with that, oh my, does that get people's attention? Oh yeah,
that's quite current in the day.
Yeah,
and age
it is. Oh, they don't even know how to respond to that. That is just so in your face.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's what we're hoping people is they'll wake up. And some people kind of need that slap to the face to see, what's going on. And we're seeing the Hegelian dialectic, the problem, reaction, solution, just so clearly, where they're trying to just, create this order out of chaos. That's what they want. They want to create this chaos. They want to create the divide, and then divide within the divide. They have divided Christianity, with not only Catholicism, but then the big churches and all these different ideas that are out there. And then with even in the truth community, now you go to look up Nephilim, and it's talking about, this mountain is a dead Nephilim. It's 50 miles long, and these are his bones, and all kinds of like disinformation that's attached to it to muddy the waters of any truth. So you imagine somebody who's new to this, and they go and look up, aliens and the Nephilim, and they see, oh, this is what these people believe, that these mountains are dead aliens or dead Nephilim. And there's just so much disinformation that it makes it really hard to find the right trail. And that's why I think it's so important for people that are biblically sound and have that foundation to really work together, because there's a lot of disinformation out there that is not.
This silencing is coming quick. It's coming quick. Lee and I were talking about that, and it's like everybody's getting wiped out pretty quick. We're all having to jump ship, right, and find different platforms. And you know what? That's why we need to stay in prayer more than anything for each other and for each other's ministries and what we're doing here, so we have some protection as these days get darker. However, the nice thing about being covered by the blood of Christ is we know that we win. So life, death, nothing No principalities, no powers, none of the realities that we know, the true history, which is in the Holy Bible, that we should have been taught from in school, is really coming into fruition. I mean, it's really, the words are jumping off the pages. I know you guys know that that's what's happening. So I do encourage all of us in your ministry to press on. Are you working on anything right now? Are you doing any writing? Are you working with any collaborations right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always working on new music. We've got a few songs that didn't make it quite for this album that'll probably be on the next album. And then, different collaborations as well that I might be doing with some other artists. We're in talks about doing a lyrics, a book of like all of our lyrics. We've got somebody who wants to publish all of our lyrics and just kind of like a little booklet type thing.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So people
that'd be awesome.
actually read all the lyrics. So, and, but yeah, other than that, we're definitely planning on making more music and stuff. And so just, one day at a time, we'll take it as God allows it, and God willing, we'll have another album.
Yes.
Ark, I was talking to Lee the other day and kind of wondering if maybe you were seeing the same thing, being that our ministries came about the same time. When the Lord showed me the truth of what this alien UFO phenomenon was back in the, mid-90s, I knew who the enemy was and where they were at, and it was in the secular realm, okay? It was in the UFO community, it was in the New Age community, and I knew where my ministry needed to be, in there. But as soon as the testimony started building up, as soon as we started building evidence for what the lie was, the next thing you know, the lie was in the Christian realm and being perpetrated in the Christian realm. So that I spent the next 20 years battling teachers in the Christian realm that are teaching wrong things. Like you were just talking about, teaching the idea that, misconstruing what the basic stuff is, so that people that are actually looking for the truth are finding this stuff all distorted, and they're not getting to the real truth. Are you seeing that too?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and you're right. It's always been around there, and people have different opinions about different things like the elongated skulls, and these are the Nephilim and all these different things. But yeah, I think we got to keep focused on what we can know biblically is sound, and not just get on these rabbit trails, because it really leads to nowhere, or at least to some sort of a new age twist on it type of thing, so
and what you can show is true evidence, because that's what you're talking about is actual evidence. That's what archaeologists do. They can prove their point. And that's what I do with the testimonies. It's not just, I don't just say that, Jesus can save you from these experiences. I bring you the evidence, which is the testimonies themselves. How many do you need?
Exactly. Yeah. And a real powerful thing that happened to me personally, my wife, when we got married, she was not a strong believer. Let's say she was not raised a believer. She had lots of questions about the Bible, and I was always just planting seeds, and we would go to church, but she just had lots of questions and doubts. And she thought my music, I never really shared my music much. I mean, she thought, oh, that's great, you're doing music, but the subject matter, no, she didn't want to hear all these things I would talk about. And we had an experience. I made a song called I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost. And I don't know if you've heard that, but it's all about sleep paralysis and exposing sleep paralysis, and how there's a cure for both sleep paralysis and alien abduction experiences. And that is the name and authority of Jesus Christ, recognizing, rebuking, and taking authority over these things. And after that song was released, about a few months after that song was released, my wife, like I said, doesn't listen to my music. And I never told her about this song or anything. but she says, I'm having these horrible dreams that like something is in the room. And like, I thought, like I was laying here the other day and I thought that like you like were like crawling on top of me. And then I opened my eyes and it was some weird face with these big eyes in my face. She's like, and then I had another dream where I woke up and I couldn't move and there was this black like thing flying around in the room. And, and I'm like, and so I tried to explain to her, this is like, I can't believe that you're having this happen to you. And then I talked to my daughter and she's like, this is happening to me too.
Oh.
Wow.
And so I showed them my songs. I told them all about this stuff. I said, this stuff is demonic. You absolutely have to rebuke it. You have to call it out. And we walked around the house, openly called it out, rebuked it. And literally, and my wife had been, we dealt with this back and forth for probably about probably about 6 to 8 months. She had off and on experiences and she didn't know whether all these things were real. And then finally she got to the point where the last thing that happened to her was an alien gray. She literally saw an alien gray's face right in her face. And I told her they will pose as all these different things.
Yeah.
And she freaked out and she's like, crying and rebuking these things, just name, and it literally stopped and it never has been back. And that's been years now. It's been like almost 3 years now since that happened.
You heard it. You heard it right here from Arkalogix.
Yeah.
Another testimony of the name and
brother.
authority of Jesus Christ over these demonic alien, masqueraded alien, demonic entities. This is a lie. Testimony right here. How many more do you need?
This is the thing that has brought my wife to be a super strong believer, absolutely devoted to Christ, devoted to back in her music, everything. So she wants to go on and like do a podcast with me and actually talk about her experience. And so it's really brought us.
Tell
closer.
her we'd love to have her on, please.
We'll have her on.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. She's kind of shy, but we'll see.
This is the place.
Yeah.
Arka, let's get back to this. We're going to take a break and we're going to pick up where we left off with this conversation. This is really interesting.
Okay, guys, and welcome back to Piercing the Cosmic Veil. And today we're talking to Destiny Lab. And what we'd really like you guys to do, if you could, is push the subscribe button. And hopefully the more people we can get, the more people will be able to pass on our message to. Okay, take it away, Ark.
Take it away, me.
Well, you're the rock star today, dude. You're the first rock star we've had on the show. Okay, so this is about you, man. This is about you. And by the way, these guys are trying to get my wife on the show too, and she's willing, but she's, I think, a little bit like yours. You and I have some similarities about how she came. You know, she's on fire for Christ. It wasn't like that, you know, during the change, and now she's just, oh man, she's such a blessing, you know, and it's amazing to see him work with her. I was just thankful that when I made that decision and my oppression stopped, I just dived straight into the Word, and by the grace of God, he kind of brought us up in tandem, which was great for our, you know, because we shortly got married, and he's just built us up together. It's really got to be tough out there. Her name's Katie. Her and I have conversations about, you know, I guess our viewers, and you could say that we're awake or aware. I guess we see things like Joe said, a little bit deeper, and that's not because we're great. It's not because we've done anything. It's just because we've had some experiences, and he's given us that understanding, and our responsibility is to pass that along. She's being on fire for Christ. She keeps me grounded, you know, if I get a little bit too crazy, and but I'd like to get her on the show as well. So
Yay! Love to have her.
Good.
She'll do it. We'll get her.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Great.
So just before the break, we were talking about experience and the experience that your wife had with the alien, and she rebuked that in Jesus' name, which is fantastic. And CE4 research has so many testimonies coming through. Joe, there's something like 60 in the book, isn't there?
Yeah, there's 60 in the book. There's over 100 on the website. And I'm still sitting on another probably 80 that have never before been shared, that we're going to split up in the next 2 books that I'm working on right now with these people you see here.
Yeah.
And they're still coming in every week.
That's true. All the
Well,
time.
Take it from me, I know it works 100%.
Definitely.
Because I've used it and it's worked. And since that time, things have stopped. So it's,
I've got a question for Ark and Jason. In the music industry, you've probably heard that they've changed that frequency. Going back, I think it was 1953, they changed the music frequency from 432 hertz to 440 hertz. What do you guys know about that? What can you share with us?
Yeah, I've heard a few different rumors about that, you know, that it had something to do with like the Fibonacci sequence of like our bodies, and is basically in tune with our harmonic frequencies or something to that effect. I don't know the details about it, but I've also heard that I heard something about, I don't know if this is connected to the Grateful Dead's Wall of Sound, that something with their Wall of Sound, they had somebody that did something weird within that sound that was supposed to kind of like hypnotize the audience or something. I can't remember if that was connected to the 432 hertz thing or not, though. I don't know a ton about it, but I've heard a little bit about it. I know that definitely there is power in sound, and through vibration, you know, interesting things like, you know, that'll form different patterns or whatever, depending on the vibration and the sounds. And sound is, and music is spiritual. There's something about music that sort of speaks to our spiritual level in a way. So the harmonics could definitely play a part in that.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a guy yesterday, AJ, who goes to our church, and he was in the Navy. He worked on radar. He worked on like, I don't know what else, but it had to do with a lot of frequency things that he can tell me all about, but how important that really is. And one of the things he said was light, how, you know, what we can see, what we can't see. And I think that also plays in tandem with frequency. I had a guy tell me once, I was at a creative kind of worship gathering, I guess. And he asked me, he said, have you ever tuned your guitar, your acoustic to 432? And I was, you know, no. I just figured out why you guys use capos, for God's sake. You know, I don't know. I would tune my guitar 432 hertz, but nevertheless, I did it just to see how it sounded, how I felt, and I did notice a change. I mean, I can't say that it's that I you know, am 100% sure, but I feel like gives it a little bit. I don't know. It's something. If you do play an instrument, it's something to try. Let's put it this way: when I'm not playing with other musicians, like at a gathering or something like that, I'm tuned into 440 because that would be too much to talk about to everybody else. However, when I'm at home, I'm always in 432 now. So I've kept it that way for a while. So there's something to be said about it.
They say that 432, the good frequency, is mathematically consistent with patterns of the universe. So pi, PHI. Yeah.
I like pi.
We're not talking apple pie. and the negative frequency, 440 hertz, some of the effects that they've studied produce antisocial behavior and ups your stress levels. So it's really interesting, isn't it? It's worth a look into the study.
Yeah, it is.
Well, what's fascinating in connection to the abduction experiences is how so many people relate that before an abduction experience, they would hear like a sound, like either a vibration, a zipping, or electrical buzz. And my wife had the experience of hearing clicking, which literally, she says, behind my eyes, and it feels like it's in the center of my brain. Like, and I say her pineal gland, I don't know, but you know, she literally would feel a clicking before this would happen to her. And she's like, it's going to happen again tonight. I can tell, I can feel that clicking behind my eyes. And so that was very strange. Like something was actually, you know, and I've investigated the whole pineal gland thing and activating your third eye, all that connection. It's the same kind of dogma of the original sin, that you can ascend into being a godlike being if you activate your third eye and all these things. But there also are some fascinating twists to where when they've looked into the pineal gland, that it actually has a melanin crystals in there that are like a liquid crystal that can change shape depending on the frequency they're exposed to, almost like a liquid crystal radio. I don't know if you've ever heard that where they used to make little radios, and all it was is like a little crystal with a copper wire around it. And as you move that up and down, you could literally tune into frequencies through crystals that they have radio frequencies. And the pineal gland somehow can change those crystal frequencies, or something can tap into your pineal gland to change those frequencies to make you have these experiences. So pretty creepy, weird stuff.
Used to have a crystal radio when I was a kid. That was a neat little thing to have. You didn't even need a battery to run it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a crystal and a wire and
antenna. That was it.
Ark, you need to fabricate one of those for your oddity shop. I can see you put one of those together.
Yeah, I sold my shop, so now I'm no longer doing that.
One of the things I've noticed with a lot of abduction cases is everything goes really, really silent. That's what happened with myself. Just total silence. The old, was it, you know, like you couldn't, or you would have been able to hear a pin drop. Like it was just so silent. And just a lot of stories that I've heard of different people having different experiences, and, you know, Sasquatch and Dogman, ETs. They all say, even the crickets stop, creaking in the background, and the frogs and the leaves, everything stops to a silence. So,
well, sorry, go. I was just going to say, Joe mentions that in his book. It's called The Oz Factor, right?
Yeah, it's from Jenny Randalls, the English researcher, and back in the 90s, she recognized that along a lot of UFO experiences, that it's like people that are in close proximity to an experience, a real experience, supernatural experience. It's like they're caught up inside this bubble. And the term that she could come up with was the Oz factor, being it's similar to, the idea came to her like, what's her name from The Wizard of Oz? She wasn't really there, I'm talking, that concept.
She was in her bed the whole time.
Yeah, she was in her bed the whole time. So that's kind of what they're talking about. And, I actually had an opportunity. I've read a lot of cases like that, but I actually had the opportunity to interview two, not being mean about it, but two real redneck fishermen in Florida when I lived there before I came to Korea. Their wife had called me up, had contacted me and called me up to come, talk to them, because they weren't gonna make the call, but they were pretty well distraught from an experience they had out fishing by I-95. Their regular fishing hole, the two guys out doing their normal fishing thing that they do. They saw a craft come over and, hover in the sky, and they just blew them away, and which things like that do to people. And as I got into getting them to relive the experience, that's when things started getting weird, and I could tell their persona changed, and I'm like, something happened here, and I tried to get them to take it, second by second by second by second, to give me actually what happened there. And again, no sound. It's like they kept telling me that time stopped, and they couldn't understand that. And there's that Oz factor, because they were close proximity, and that it's a time-space distortion.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And, what they're describing here is something that's piercing the veil, something that's coming from the other side. They cause that time-space distortion in that envelope as they pierce that veil. That's why the book's titled what it is. They create that bubble. When that manifestation happens, if you're in that proximity, you get caught up in it. And, that's what being described here.
Yeah, it's fascinating. There's an old Twilight Zone where they went to a world and everyone was standing still, but they actually found out later that they were just moving super fast. They were moving so fast that in comparison to everyone else, it looked like they were just standing still, But I think there is definitely some sort of distortion of time and space. Absolutely, the interdimensional aspect of this is undeniable.
If you listen to everything that Louis Elizondo in his talks, he's from ATIP. That was, he was part of that government group, and he talks about the sightings that the Navy had from the Tic Tac off of San Diego. If you look at all of the information that came out of that and the organization and what's been put together to try and understand that, everything is pointing to an interdimensional object. And everything that they're looking at, they're putting together to study that, has to do with, things that are defying physics. So that's pointing at everything here, that they're looking at what this probably was a manifestation, not a physical object that come in from somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know how to describe it. This is something I hope to get into with the third book is, trying to explain disclosure. For Christians, if you truly understand what the word says, which I don't think a lot do, when you look at this UFO phenomenon, we already have disclosure. God tells us what this is. It's the rest of the world that's waiting on disclosure.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to explain to believers how to share to a non-Christian what disclosure is. Because it's already happened. And they just don't realize it. They don't realize what they're actually seeing. And that, that's what I'm trying to put together for this third book. Because I think right now, because we already have the answer, and they're just begging for it and dying for it, and just they're drooling out there, and it isn't coming, because I don't think the government can give it to them. I don't think they have an answer. They really don't.
Well, hey Joe, as long as they can popularize it, and have these things in movies and commercials. I mean, you guys, you can't go anywhere or look at anything without seeing the Alien game, the Alien shirt,
Sure.
the Alien sticker, the UFO. I mean, if we're talking, I mean, we're called to be in the world, but not of the world. And like Ark was saying, the rabbit holes are so many and the tentacles are so wide, and it really takes a while to get a grasp of it. But when you look at it objectively like that, you can see that it's just one of the many things that the world is using. Because what is it doing? It's distracting. It's taking our eyes off of the one true God. And like I said before, it's not about church. It's not about religion. It's about a relationship with Jesus Christ. Yeah. I want to make that clear to everybody who's out there, everybody who's watching this, that it's not about religion. It's not about church. It's about asking Jesus Christ to come into your life and to show you the truth, and to show you what real love is, and to ask him if you've got questions, if you've got concerns, if you're confused. I mean, we live in such a time where, that's what I was going to say earlier. I forgot my thought. Can you imagine the people out there, the experiencers, the non-believers, and or the believers that are married in this season that we're in right now, that aren't equally yoked? So in other words, I'm awake, your wife's not. Your wife's has a relationship with Jesus Christ. The husband's not. Now we've got all of these other things weighing down on the family, pressing. Again, this is why we're called to press on, to press into what our ministries are called us to do. And I know we all get weak, and I know we all get, like Paul said, right? I don't want to do what I'm doing, and when I do something I know I shouldn't do, I knew I didn't do it, and every single day, and even at my best, even when I think I'm doing the best I can to represent the King, I'm nothing but filthy rags. I can relate to that so much, because I fail. I fail, but I know that he lives inside of me. I know that he's changed my life. I know that by the authority of his name, my experiences stopped. Like you said, it was done after I called out his name that night. And he showed up. It was over. Obviously, there's a process in which has to occur afterwards. It's sanctification. It's justification. But people, it doesn't matter what you're doing, right? It does matter what you're doing. But if you haven't dabbled into any of these things, I'm sure you've watched our shows previous. Hopefully you have. Doesn't matter if it's drugs or the occult, or if it's Reiki, or if it's witchcraft, or if it's Luciferian, or if it's Freemasonry. These are all wrapped up into one package. And that package is like going into it's like when you go to Netflix. I can never find it on Netflix. Number one, everything on it's satanic, but I look at it and I'm like, honey, I can't, there's all this stuff and I can't even figure out what I want to watch because it's all junk. However, if you don't have the eyes to see or the ears to hear, you're going to be just ripping through that stuff. And that's just less like KJ says, it's lesser magic, and it's coming at us. It's coming at us visually and audibly like it never has before. So I encourage everybody who's out there that believes in Jesus Christ, that has a personal relationship with him. If you have a ministry, if you have a YouTube channel, if you don't, or you're just a believer and you're passionate for Christ and he's changed your life, share that good news with people, you guys, because time is short.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what we got for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we've got the other side, actually, people claiming, fifth contact of the fifth kind.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen this, but it's basically seances.
Yeah.
It's like but we can use this as a even more proof that this is demonic. I mean, they're literally contacting these things through a seance type ritual. And I mean, what is that? I mean, that people have been doing that to ghosts and entities throughout time. These are the same incubus, succubus beings of old.
Yep.
And what's their next disguise going to be? You know, is going to be some sort of transhuman robot or something, you know?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yep.
You know, guys, Jason brought up a good point, how all this is connected. It doesn't matter, you know, what you've been deceived with. It's all the same source. You know, we could do this show right here with the subject matter that we do right now, but we could turn around and open up another show, and it could be dealing about coming out of drugs, and the same people would be on the show. We could turn around and do the same thing, and it would be coming out of heavy, you know, rock and roll. Same people would be on the show, you know, coming out of the occult. Same people would be on the show, because we've all been deceived by the same enemy.
Yep.
You know?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
100%
You know, we all have more than one testimony, which is so amazing about it. You know?
Yeah, and you think about all the testimonies that haven't been heard.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
people are too shy or haven't gone out. That's what I tell. A lot of people contact me and tell me about their, and that's what I tell them every time. Please make a testimony. That's now your calling. You know, if you've gone through this and this has happened to you, now you can be a witness to others. You know, make a personal testimony, because that's one of the most powerful things that you can do to witness to others.
Yeah, and I try to tell people that. I said, you know, sharing the word of God is one thing, but if a person doesn't believe the word of God, they don't believe it's real, they're going to need evidence of that word. And your testimony is that evidence. Your testimony of a life changed is the most powerful evidence in the world. To be able to, I mean, look at the things what Jesus said in the you know, in scripture. He said, you know, to have a faith to move that mountain. You know, it's nothing to move a mountain. We're moving mountains today. I watch these Koreans with their technology and their equipment take a mountain, level it, move everything over here, and build buildings on it. It's no big deal to move a mountain, but to change a heart, to change somebody completely, that is incredible. And anybody that's been through it, like us, if they know where we just have somebody that knew you before you became a believer, testify for who you were, that is evidence. And I actually had that in one of my talks. I sent that to you, Lee. Watch that talk that I did. Okay, I brought all those testimonies up at the end to testify to Jesus Christ changing their lives. But I don't give my own testimony, okay? I brought a friend that I had known for years and worked with at the boat company I worked at. I brought him up. I said, you testify to who I am. You testify because you knew me before I became a believer. Oh, he let him have it, okay? Yeah, that's the evidence of a life changed, you know? That's something until it happens, you say, that's not possible. There's no God that can change me. That's what they're saying. But once it happens, they're just blown away. We're all blown away. We don't think, none of us believe that it could have happened at the time, but it's happened. And we're testifying to it. That's proof that the word of God is real. That's proof that God is real. That's proof that Jesus Christ is real. And it's proof that the enemy is a liar.
Yep. Absolutely.
And with that, there's another show in the books, guys.
All right.
I don't know what to say, except I'm thankful that you made it on here. I look forward to doing more with you, Art. I think you're an awesome guy, very humble. I think you're very talented. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate your ministry, and I appreciate you putting aside time for us today here at here's the Cosmic Veil. So like Nick said, if you haven't subscribed to our channel and you haven't hit the like button, please do. Our job isn't to gain anything except to have more people reached so that I wish I would have had Joe's book. Like you, Ark, I came across the minute I got out of my oppression, he threw Joe's testimony up from Roswell, early 2000s, and
Nice.
I was that completely changed my entire life. A couple years passed. We're talking on the phone for 3 hours, and next, we're working on a book together, and this is happening, and that's how God works. And so hopefully we live the rest of our lives here on this earthly plane, which is gone in an instant, because we do have an eternal soul. And I just wish and hope and pray that we all press on as the year continues, and let's do work for the kingdom, because I don't know about you guys, but I spent a lot of my life working for myself. So again, thanks for having us, you guys. Please subscribe, and I know Lee's going to leave some links below where you can reach Ark, where you can reach his website, all the places that you can get his music and things like that. What you got, Joe?
Ark, it's been an absolute honor to be associated with you, and
the honor's mine.
I look forward to a long and prosperous relationship between both of us and all of us. And I thank God that we've all come together to be able to share His word and to be able to do this mission that He's given us.
Yep. Now's the time to get it out to the masses. They're hungry. People are hungry for the truth right now.
Oh, they are.
This chaos, we talk about the chaos, but within that, it's also God's grace, because all this evil is being externalized to such a point. There's no denying it anymore. People that were straddling the fence and trying to sit on the fence. No, it's time to get off the fence and decide whom you're going to serve. And now's the time we've got to get this message out there and work together to do it. So
well said.
Thank you guys so much. And,
thank you.
And praise God
pleasure.
for what you're doing.
Thanks, Art.
Absolutely.
See you next time, guys.
See you. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Research. I've documented cases, and I have case upon case that shows this, but yet I'm not accepted in here. It's like I'm the most unwanted piece of the puzzle. You know what I mean? It's like they're all trying to put a piece of the puzzle together, but when I come with my piece, they don't want my piece, because my piece is going to change what they think the puzzle is supposed to look like.
Hey yo, there's something in the air, can't you feel it? It's like everything is starting to be clear and you can see it. It's so intriguing to observe reality. What do you believe? Will we ever agree? I see a planet that's in question, see reflections of the past, repeated patterns, repetitions. A vision
At least be looking at it, not putting the blinders on. If you're so open to doing honest research.